Chad did a great job talking about some of the different lures that we use while we're up there fishing on Lake Winnipeg. And Scott did a good job of explaining some of the dynamics of Lake Winnipeg and why fish are in certain locations, why they're there. I don't want to scare anybody off, but I do want to make sure if any of you, whether you are traveling with our group, we have a large group going up in March, or whether you're going to venture out on your own, that you're prepared. Because this is a huge body of water. There are a number of challenges we have to pay attention to. First off, if you look at this picture, you'll see Mr. Kula's Moonmobile here, his ATV with these tracks on it, and if you look in the background, you've got a whole line of frazzle ice. Basically what happens frequently up there is that the ice will freeze, you know, and it can be 2, 3, 4 inches thick. We get a big north wind, that 250-mile lake, I mean, that wind gets a run at it, and here it'll pile up and make these shards of ice actually come up out of the water, and then it'll refreeze. So now you've got a big minefield that you're traveling through up here. What you might not be able to see is that there's a line of this frazzle ice right here, but behind it, it goes on for miles. It goes on and on and on for miles. So we need to be prepared. We've often talked, Scott and I and Chad and others have talked about the fact that if there's a testing ground for ice fishing equipment, this is it. And if you can come home and your equipment's all together in one piece, you're doing pretty good. Okay, it's rough. It's rough up there. And just to share a few examples. Again, you don't have to have the full tricked out rig to be up there and catch fish. But you know what? It's kind of fun sometimes to see what some people are doing. And this is an individual who's taken a snowmobile, and he's one of the members of the Canadian club, the WAM club out of Canada. And he took this sled and he tricked it out for ice fishing. Okay? He's got the auger rack on the front. Because if you let your auger bounce around, there's nothing going to cause more damage than those auger blades and that flighting, ripping and tearing at the other gear you have stored with it. He's got a big box mounted to the back of the sled. And you see on the inside of that box, we've got propane tanks, heaters, ice gear, tackle, rod box. Everything he needs to go ice fishing is basically stowed in that tackle box securely and tightly. So as you're traveling from one place to another, it's not going to get bounced around. That's the key. There's never a short trip on Lake Winnipeg. You're always talking minimum 4 miles, 5 miles, upwards to 15, 20. I know Jay here's probably put 50, 100 miles on his rig in a weekend, and that's no problem. And so you got to have it packed and prepared so you can get from one place to another. You've got a little place right here, tough to see, but where his portable fish house, his pop-up fish house stows away. A great example of a rig put together for Lake Winnipeg. You can do the same with your ATVs. You'll see a lot of folks up there with our group with your side-by-sides with the tracks. You're going to see the big gators here with the tracks on it and all the pop-ups and the flip-over houses in the back. These are great because if you've got the cab, nice traveling in that. Nice, comfortable. You can ride around in your hoodie. Here we've got Jay with his ATV with the tracks, all his rod mounts on the side, even has his Lowrance mounted to the handlebars for the GPS unit. Okay, there's no limit to what you can do up there. Keep in mind, it's rough country, it's rough terrain, and it's not easy going. Bring your auger. But this is an auger last year with an extension, and it is not hitting water yet. Last year in March, we were drilling holes around the outside of our primary hole so we could get the handlebars down beneath the surface of the ice to break through. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Obviously it's worth it, but it's a lot of work. So as we look at our packing list, what are we going to bring along? We're going to bring an extension. If you haven't bought an extension, don't bother with the short ones. Don't bother with the 12 inches. Buy the 18, 20 inch extension. If you are on our email list, we do an email list to people going with our group. If you're not in our group, give me your email. I'll give you the address, or I'll give you the updates as we have them available. We keep tabs on what the thickness of the ice is, what you're going to need, what the current conditions are. So we've never needed 2 extensions, and I hope this year we don't, but you never know. Your portable GPS. Make sure somebody in your group has a good GPS. As Brenton said, mark your access point where you access the lake. Where's the truck? Now, I've been on Lake Winnipeg in a whiteout. Beautiful morning. About 1 o'clock after lunch, the front came through. It was a whiteout. I have never lost my sense of direction like I did that day. I could not have found my way off the ice without a GPS. We were to the point of having conversations of pitching the tent, the pop-up, and sleeping out there, if necessary. So have that GPS. You've got to have it. It doesn't matter if it's now in January, if it's in March. You know, some days you hit good weather, some days you hit brutally cold weather. It's not uncommon to be below 0. Middle of March last year, we were, 10, 12 below 0 in the mornings. And make sure you dress in layers, you have plenty of clothes, you have plenty of equipment to keep yourself warm. The style of fishing up there is moving, being active, moving around. You need to be able to be out in the elements, really, to be successful. That's important. We've got over here in the corner by Scott's head there, just an example. This is a suit that Shields has sold quite a few of this year. If you don't have a winter ice suit, take a look at these, because they're not only a bulletproof suit and a warm suit, but they also will float. So if you do go through in late fall, if you do go through early ice, whatever it might be, that's going to float you. That's a nice security to have. As far as the equipment, ATVs, snowmobiles, things like that, it really depends on the conditions of the ice at the time you're going. It's one of the benefits of going with a big group. It's one of the benefits of being able to have a contact in Canada. Check on the conditions, know what they are, and make sure you're able to be flexible. You don't want to go up there with an ATV if there's 6-foot snow drifts, right? Makes sense. Same thing is if all the snow melts off in the middle of March, a snowmobile isn't going to get you very far. You're going to be slipping around, so you need to know what to bring. Planks, later in the year, sometimes we need to cross cracks, and so have those planks available if that's the case, so you can cross those cracks and get over them safely. An ice well, I want to mention that. They sell them upstairs, and what it is, it's a mesh bag. So let's look at the next item on the list, our camera and our video camera. These are a fish of a lifetime. We're hoping everybody catches the biggest fish of their life. What are you going to do when you get that big fish? Right? You're going to be doing your touchdown dance, right, in the end zone. What I suggest is be prepared. Have that ice well. Okay? You land the fish on the ice, you unhook it, you put it in the mesh bag, you put it back in the water. Then you do your dance, your high fives, your hooting and hollering, calm yourself down, get your buddy with the camera, pull the fish back out, take a quick photo, and release that fish. Now obviously it's different if you're going to keep it, put it on the wall. Everybody, hey, if you catch a trophy and want to do that, great. But you may catch multiple fish during the course of an excursion, and you want to practice good catch and release, so that's a recommendation. Your cell phone. Make sure you check with your carrier before you go up there. Different plans in Canada, different plans in the United States. You want to make sure that you're not going to get surprised by a bill that you didn't expect.
Especially data.
Yeah, and especially data plans. Yep. Your shore lunch. It is permissible to clean your fish on the ice. It's permissible to go ahead and fry them up while you're up there. Remember, that doesn't mean you can catch another limit. That does count towards your daily limit. But it makes for a fun time out on the ice. Some other tips. Go with a group. It's always more fun with a group. We're not fishing on a 20-yard by 50-yard reef up on the northwest angle, right? There's plenty of room. Bring a group. Make it a fun time. Hire a guide. Especially if you're going up for a few days, hire a guide. Let them take you out. Get you a feel for what's going on. Get you up to speed in terms of what's been working lately, and then go out on your own. Make your lodging reservations early. I know for our group in March, the day after we left last year, the entire lodging reservations at the casino where we stayed were booked up for this year. Got to get ahead of the game. Become a member of FM Walleyes or WHAM. How many of you are FM Walleyes members? Fantastic. Do we have any WHAM Club members? Come on, raise your hand in the back of the room. I know we've got a couple. Great organizations to help you stay in touch with what's going on up on Lake Winnipeg. WHAM is the Walleye Anglers Association of Manitoba. They're a walleye club based out of Winnipeg. I'll tell you what, we wouldn't be here tonight doing this seminar and talking about these fish if it weren't for these folks, because they were the ones who helped start this all and get this going, and it's their real generosity and hospitality and willingness to share what they have up there that has made this grow to the point where it is today. FM Walleyes, if you're a member, great. If you're not, think about it. Family membership's $25 a year. Great group of people. If you are a member, get involved, get active, be a part of the club, because you'll meet great people and you'll learn a lot. Our excursion, our trip in March. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We've got activities in the evenings. Back at the casino, we handle this in a way where we do not charge. We do not charge an X number of dollars for a ticket. What we do is we come on in that night and we have some raffles, some games, some things that we have for fun. And all the money that's contributed to those raffles and those games goes to pay the cost of providing dinner both Friday and Saturday night. It's a whole lot of fun. And I'm going to tell you, if you've been there before, we have really stepped up. Brenton and Craig and Scott have really stepped up our raffle prizes this year. We've got some good stuff on the docket. And just to wrap up, and I would just mention too, if you are involved with that trip, some guys come up early, and that's great, that's great. Little secret, if it were me, I'd probably add my vacation days to the end of the trip, because then you'll know where everybody else caught them, right? Some contact information, we have these sheets up here, you're welcome to grab them if you want on your way out. South Beach Casino, Pro-Am Tackle, Bobby and Brett are fantastic resources up there in Winnipeg. They'll set you up with licenses, they'll get you your bait, your frozen, shiners, anything you need. Lee Nolden, there's many guides out on the lake, there's many of them, there's great guides. Lee is one of the best. Good guy to get a hold of if you want to get set up there on the lake. Contact information here for Scott, for Chad, for myself. Feel free to call us anytime.